Hey everyone, J-Rod Plays here, and I'm just putting together a quick guide with commentary for the GM this week, which is going to be Fallen Saber. As you're going through each week trying to get your Conqueror title done, I'll try to put through a guide on some of the more difficult ones. So whenever you do see a guide pop up on a GM, it's because I've struggled myself a little bit, tried once or twice with randoms that are having a little bit of trouble, and so I say, okay, well, maybe put a guide together so I can help other randoms, other LFGs that are struggling a little bit for these strikes. And so in this case, when you're starting to strike out, you're going to start by landing on a top of a kind of a cliff, and below there's going to be a few shanks and a drag you want to try to take out for your teammates. It always happens for the most part that people will just take off on their speeders and try to get past them, and every now and then somebody will get killed in a bad spot and just waste a revive for no reason. So if you're the person that's paying attention, you'll kill those so that they can't take out a sparrow or a skimmer trying to get over the top of them and waste the revive. Now, once you catch up to everybody, make sure that you're not standing directly under the Warsat's location, because if you are, there's a chance you can get bounced off the map, or you can get bounced backwards and maybe die sometimes by hitting two things with collision damage. From there, you're going to move up and you're going to start the process. Now, in the past, people would do the little sit emote and sit there. You can also use a invis build like I have here on mine, and that invis build is going to allow you to stay on the point while the teammates pick off anything that may move around you and kill some of the champions. What I decided to do, since my teammates were kind of still up, pushed up there, and we weren't talking, there was no mics, I just said, let me just stay back and let me protect them and do my best to help take out champs. And if I needed to go invis to get a res, that's what I was going to use my invis for. But this build does have like pretty much unlimited invis, and you'll see that through the encounter that I'm able to invis again, and then have my invis back ready to go with very little downtime, if any, between getting another invis again. And that's what's so strong about this build. I'll be going over the build as well at the end of the video, so that way if you guys want to take this exact build through and you see this run and say, okay, I want my run to look exactly like this and be as easy as this is, then you can do that and just copy my build. I'll also have a dim link in the comments below too. So now that we've cleared the first area, what you noticed that I did was I took out the turrets that were on top of the fallen ship coming in, and the way you can get them to pop up early is to shoot the front. It'll actually open the turret section early, and you can start shooting them as they come in, and that'll give you an opportunity to kill the adds that are jumping down, dropping down, without too much of a hassle from being pelted by the ship. And this works with all the ships, not just the ship that's hovering over where we currently are at the location of the war set, but the two ships that spawn at the back as well, kind of over to the right from where I'm looking right now, and you can pick those up early too. Now the bow that I'm using is the raid bow, the non-denouement bow. That bow I have strategist and I have volt shot, as you can see, and it's fantastic. Every time you get a kill, as soon as you knock the next arrow, you have volt shot. It's basically a legendary Trinity gold, and it gives you some additional use other than just clearing the adds and getting your class ability energy back. You can also stun overload champions as well with the jolt from the volt shot. Now I'm working on this overload captain here. I'm going to make sure that he dies. I'm actually also using the critical anomaly, which is the raid sniper rifle, and that sniper rifle has chill clip on it, so one shot from that will provide enough slow to stun as well. And it's also going to be an anti-barrier weapon because I have anti-barrier sniper as part of the artifact. Keeping that in mind, you can see that I've actually used my invisibility to get the res, so that's the reason why I'm running invis, so that no matter what, if somebody dies, if both teammates are dead, I can go in there and get both reses safely, and if I still have a quick fall, I can actually get them resed and then quick fall to get them invis, and as long as they don't break their own invis, they can get away safely as well. So now the new ships were coming in. As you can see, I shot the new ships' turrets out. My teammates were helping me as well. Another great thing about having the arc bow is that, of course, we have arc as far as the surges. So the arc bow will not only do a lot of damage, but it will also break shields of captains. So keep that in mind. The reason I'm running this bow is because there's arc shields, and we have arc surge, and it's just a great synergy. I'm also running Thunderlords, because Thunderlord, of course, will help with the overloads, but Thunderlord is also going to benefit from the Arc Surge, and it's a good way to cook certain bosses and to cook champions while still taking care of anything around there with the lightning strikes. And since the Thunderlord was given out as pretty much a freebie during the Into the Light, most people should have Thunderlord. And now what I'm doing is I'm using that same sniper rifle to work on the champions. I'm trying to get the shields low enough on the barriers, and then once they can pop, then I'll be able to freeze them, which will allow me to get off more shots If you have a triple tap like I do, you're going to get additional shots. And then if you're running the same artifact that I'm running, where you get stacking damage, that's going to help bring down the champion without having to use any heavy. Now, another benefit to using the bow that I'm using with the Surge is that even though there's void shields, the bow with the Surge will actually pretty quickly melt through a lot of the void shields. So as you can see here, it's like a 3-shot maybe with the bow to knock down the shields, and then you can start working on them with heavy, or in this case I was using my sniper because it'll freeze them up and I'll be able to get some good damage on them. My teammate was then able to take them out with the slam. Now that I've cooked the Overload Champion, we're going to start working again on the enemies falling down. And as you'll notice, what I'm trying to prioritize is trying to get a kill, and then trying to hit my next shot on an orange bar, so that that orange bar will be jolted, and then attacking them again will then do the volt shot jolt, which will then kill more enemies, which will proc another volt shot. And so you can kind of do that same type of rotation that you would do with Trinity Goal, where you're always having the lightning strikes. So now that we've gotten the Warsat captured, and I was kind of working around my teammates, trying to keep them safe the best I could, I'm going to drop down, open the door, and I'm going to get on my speeder to kind of speed through the area. But one thing that you'll notice that I do is I do not bring my speeder down next to the door, because that's an easy way to get yourself killed, having an enemy blow up your speeder while you're still next to it. I leave it far enough back that it's not in the line of sight of the enemies. My teammates will probably bring down their speeders, I believe, on this run, and what you'll see me do is blow the speeder up, because that's just a boneheaded thing to do, is to put a bomb right where you're going to be trying to run through for safety. So I make sure to blow the speeders up, clear that up. I would recommend you do the same, so that we don't have to worry about explosives behind you when you're trying to escape from the room of enemies. Now, there's two ways that you can go about this. You can stay in the room where I am here, with the door opening and closing, and try to dodge sniper shots, which is a usable routine that you can do. But I find that if somebody else is in here, like this other person that's in here with me, it gets really crowded and it can become a detriment. So what I ended up doing was saying, forget it, I'm going to go protect Kamikaze, because if you go as a group and you're on top of the spawns, you can actually go in and to the left, and there's like a little doorway there where the enemies will spawn. It's going to be a bunch of vandals that spawn out of the wall when you get in there. If you can cook them really quickly when they spawn and don't allow them to kind of stack up on you or take you by surprise, it's actually relatively safe in there along that outer wall where you see Kamikaze is. So I'm eventually going to get tired of having this person in my way and dying over and over again, and I'm just going to leave him in here. I'm going to go to the left and just kind of get out of the way and do my best to make sure the Kamikaze doesn't die over there in his position, and try to also clear the barrier up and everything. So this is where I'm headed now. And as you can see, when I do get over there, I'm going to have to check behind me to make sure that there's not a spawn happening. Once we clear the group in front of us, there will be a spawn, so just be ready for that. I happen to have my heavy out at the time, because I was cooking the barrier, and I was ready for the spawn, so I said let me cook them as soon as they get out, so that they can't surprise us. And again, caught the Overload Champion perfectly. Thunderlord was reloading itself, which is great, and then I was able to use the Critical Anomaly to weaken him and get a finish. And then Booker just loves to block my my path, whether I'm trying to get away in the middle room or trying to get away in the side room. He is always right there next to me to create a roadblock for me. A lot of fun. So here it's a little dangerous because you have a bunch of Exploder Shanks spawning, and if they get in there with you guys, you're going to be in trouble. So what I decided to do was just vacate and get over to the front before they spawned the two Overload Champions. The teammates that I were working with were not ready to take on the overload that I was working through, so I had some heavy wasted with these two overloads up here. And so here I am trying to work on this overload with Booker, because since he's in super, he can kind of string him up. So just keep that in mind, that there will be a time where once you shoot the Warmind's core at the back of the room, overloads are going to spawn in that doorway. So here now what I'm doing is I'm telling them, hey, if you just let me solo the dunk, you don't have to worry about the ads that are spawning there, because what I have is, again, that invis build where I can cycle through 3 invises, and that's going to be enough time to walk the little core back into the dunk. And so I was trying to tell them not to worry about it, but they were insistent upon killing these guys in the back. So I just said, you know what, let me hang back. I'm not going to have death from trying to stick out and get caught and get pushed out into the beam. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just taking my time. I'm going to get down there and get invis. And I thought that I was going to be having an easy time of this, where my teammates were just going to stay back and let me bring the ball down. But you'll see in a little bit, I was in for a bit of a surprise. And so now what you'll do is you grab the core, and you're going to kind of jump swing until the enemies spawn. And then from there, you can actually still activate your quick fall and not lose the orb. If you activate your dodge, you will lose the orb, which I did. But it was fine because I said, let me just play it safe and go invis. Even as you can see the quick fall here with this exploder shank next to me, it disorients him and I don't get killed by him, so it worked out in my benefit. So here I'm going to do a dodge and pick up again. I'm saving my quick fall to disorient this other one here. But to my surprise, my teammates just, for whatever reason, decided to shoot the exploder shank right on me. Thankfully, I got the dunk through, and we're past this portion. But I immediately, I'm like, bro, why? I was like, don't even come in here. And it still happened. So Booker, again, is just having a great time trolling me, this particular Grandmaster. Now in this room here, you're just going to do your best to try to clear the front portion without getting too stacked up and without getting killed through the tracking shots of the Vandals. So what I decided to do was just get in there and get a group together, hit my super on them, and get to the side, let my teammates come out and get some shots into them. I could even bust out my Thunderlord, and that'll help kill anything that's kind of around the Overload champion. So that's what I'm doing here. Then we're going to have a new set of overloads come out. If the teammates let them move forward, they would have moved into my tether, but the tether just disappeared, so it's like whatever. Next thing I'm doing is I'm just getting the barrier servitor ready, and I'm trying to sneak in a sniper shot past this barricade, which I was able to do. Now I'm trying to get a kill and get a volt shot going to get the stun. I wasn't able to do that, so I'm just backing up, making sure that I'm safe. I'm going to let them realize, hey, there's 2 overloads there, and then I'll get the stun on the one that is strung up. I was hoping that we could primary them down, but my teammates were not interested in that, so I'm just going to use my sniper to try to make sure that he can't recover, and I can get some good damage on them so that I can finish them off by heavy. And again, just for those who are new to the Overload mod, how that works is if you're doing consistent damage to an enemy Overload champion that is tied to whatever it is, whether it be like an Overload hand cannon, in this case Overload sniper, as long as you continue to shoot them with the Overload weapon, it'll prevent them from activating their Overload ability to get their health back. So that's why I was pelting them with the sniper, not only to try to kill them with the big damage, but also to try to keep them from recovering health. Now here, it's kind of an annoying part because you're going to run into a situation where you have a lot of snipers. They're going to be protected by this barrier champ. So what you want to try to do is try to get the barrier champion to wall up. That means it's going to release its tether on the enemies around it, and it'll be vulnerable, so that way you can actually kill the stuff that's around it. These snipers do also tend to hide in the back. So if you have a grenade, some type of like a wall grenade or any type of grenade that's going to area of effect, like the one that I threw back here, that'll flush out any kind of a vandal that's hiding back there into the open so that you can pick at them. And now, as you can see there, I got the stun using the volt shot from the bow on the 3 captains, which was fantastic. And so now what we can do is we can just all pick them down, and I can use my sniper now to try to find 1 or 2 that are in there and try to get them taken down with my heavy, and the lightning strikes are going to then go around and prevent any of the overloads from healing, which is fantastic. That's why Thunderlord's such a good weapon to have in this particular strike. And the last one I can just pick off with my teammates there. So now that we've done that, as you can see, we're only 14 minutes in. It's a fast strike. What we're going to do next is we're going to try to position ourselves in a way that we can cover our teammates during the boss fight. I try to always take out the smaller adds because I know the adds can kind of pile up, especially in this one. There's a lot of shanks that are going to spawn, and if you let them pile up on your teammates, usually your teammates are going to end up getting killed, and then you're going to be by yourself, and if something unfortunate happens to you, like you stand in the wrong spot and some of the geometry kills you, or you happen to get sniped by the boss, then the run's over, right? So I made sure that I was going to just support them, try to knock down the shields of all the servitors, try to take up any of the small shanks, keep an eye on the sniper shanks that spawn from the top during that portion, and I'll go over that here in a second, and just make sure overall that my teammates are safe and they have a chance to do damage to the boss. Now what you want to try to do, if possible, and you're coordinated, you want to try to very quickly take out the first quarter of health on this boss. What he's going to usually do is teleport back into the floor. It's like a new bug this season, so just be ready for him to teleport back up to you at the top. So in the meantime, what I'm doing is I'm just taking out the shanks, because I know that if I let the shanks pile up, then it's going to be lights out for us. I go in base to get heavy, and unfortunately it's not a whole lot of heavy, but it's something, and then I come back and try to work on the shanks again while my teammates are still trying to do damage to the boss. Now a good safe spot in this portion is going to be over to the left behind this big kind of square in the floor, this slab in the floor. There's no lightning back there in that corner, and you can kind of head glitch the boss as long as you're watching the shanks that come out of the left doors there. And so that's what I'll be doing. I'm also going in invis periodically to break the boss's gaze, because if the boss is looking at me, then that means that there's a chance that I can get sniped and get shot by the small shanks at the same time, and I'm pretty much the backbone of the team the way that I'm looking at it, because if I die, we all die, so I do my best to try to break line of sight to the boss anytime he turns and looks at me with my invis or quickfall invis. So here we finally cook the boss and get him down to his quarter. That's going to get him out of the way and get us the barrier champ to come out. That's also going to spawn the next section where you have to watch out for the shanks that come out of the top. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm just getting in a position, that same position on the left, and getting to where I can help assist my teammates bring down the barrier champion. And again, just keeping an eye out on any of the shank spawns, making sure that the shanks are clear. And as you can see, the boss is trying to attack me here, and I'm still head glitching the boss just fine. So I'm just peek shotting to try to make sure that I can get the stun, so that my teammates can clean up the barrier champ. Which they do not. Alright, champ down. Now the boss is going to come down, and he's going to have now the sniper ability, so you're going to want to try to cook him again one more time to get him to go back down. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to use as much ammo as I can to try to get this boss moving, because this is like one of the hardest sections. If you don't cook him quickly, you'll have a lot of deaths, like the one that I had here, similar. So what I'm doing now is I'm using my position around this shank to get back my quickfall. My smoke for the quickfall, should I say, because I have the dodge that allows me to get a melee when I dodge next to it. That way I can res my teammate, and I have an extra invis available. I'm also making sure that I'm watching for the sniper shanks, which I took down quickly, and then we're going back to the barrier to focus the barrier. And so now I've only got 31 shots of the heavy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my super down, and I'm going to try to do as much damage as I can, and then just do my best to support my teammates, and hopefully they use their supers, and hopefully they use their heavy to kill the boss. Because once we get that last little quarter, the boss is going to kind of pop open, and he's going to chase you around and try to run you down. So here what I'm doing is I'm just going to stay in viz, and I'm going to go for the reses, and I'm not even going to try to engage the boss, just to make sure that we survive. Thankfully, our teammate on the other side, Booker, was able to get that final bit of damage in, and we are done with the run. So from here, I'm going to go into the build guide, kind of go into what I have, the way that it works, and put that dim link in the comments for you guys. If you have any additional questions or concerns, or you're running into any problems in your runs, just drop me a comment below, and I'll be glad to help you out. I'll see you guys in the build guide. All right, so this is going to be the build portion. I'm going to start by going over the class and what we have for the fragments and the aspects. So in this case, we're a Night Stalker. I'm running Deadfall for the super, just so that I can have a debuff for the boss. I'm running the Vortex Grenade. That way I can kind of suck everything in and get that constant damage. To me, that's my favorite grenade when I'm running this build. I'm going to be running Gambler's Dodge. That way I can get back my smoke whenever I dodge near something while I'm invisible. That'll give me an extra third invisibility, basically, as I'm rotating between the invisibilities. For the fragments, we're going to be looking at Echo of Persistence. That's going to be giving me additional invisibility time. I'm running Echo of Dilation just for the stats, just for the 10 mobility. The Echo of Starvation is so that when I do pick up a Void Breach, I can actually get Devour if I create Void Breaches. And then Vigilance is if I'm low shields and I happen to get a kill, I'm going to get a Void Overshield, and that's going to affect Shield Crush and give me my ability energy back very quickly as well. And so this is kind of just like a nice synergy with all of these. For the aspects, of course, Vanishing Step, dodging makes you invisible. And then for Trapper's Ambush, if you activate Quickfall, you go invisible. And that's how I'm able to stay invisible pretty much infinitely, by going between the Quickfall, which you want to start out first, and then from there you can dodge next to an enemy while you're invisible. That's going to give you more invisibility time, give you your Quickfall back, so now you have your third one, and then you can Quickfall again. And by the time your Quickfall is up and your invisibility is up, you'll have another dodge. So that's going to be how you're able to rotate it. So Quickfall, dodge, Quickfall, and then you'll have another dodge back, and you can just kind of keep doing that over and over and over again, as long as you don't mess up a timing, as long as you wait until the very last second to dodge or Quickfall to get your invisibility extended. Now, the way that we have that extended invisibility as well is through the Graviton Forfeit. So for the Graviton Forfeit, it is going to increase the duration of the invisibility effects, and while you're invisible, your melee recharges faster, your weapons reload faster, and you get better recovery. So it's a nice way to get out of danger and get your health back as well. You don't have to worry about orbs or anything like that, because your health is going to come back quickly while you're in that invis state. As long as you don't get in a situation where you're still standing, where enemies are firing at where you were, you shouldn't die when you're balancing this properly. Now for the weapons, I use Critical Anomaly with Chill Clip and Triple Tap. The reason why Chill Clip's important is because not only is it going to be an anti-barrier weapon, but Chill Clip will stun overloads. So if you come here, you can see overloads are stunned by the Stasis Slow effect. One shot from Critical Anomaly will stun an overload champion. Even though sometimes it's annoying to hit that first shot because they're teleporting all over the place, it's still nice to have all of your enemies in the strike being able to be stunned by just this one weapon, so you don't have to run multiple weapons for champions. This will also work for Unstoppables too. If you shoot them twice back to back, you're going to get a freeze, and then when that freeze shatters, you're going to get a stun on Unstop. So this one weapon, Critical Anomaly, will stun all three champions. So very valuable weapon. I do recommend picking that up in the raid if you have the ability to do so. Also with the bow, I'm running the non-denouement again. That's a strategist and volt shot bow. The volt shot can also stun overload champions, which is nice. If you kill an enemy near them and then you shoot them and the volt goes off, the jolt's going to stun them, and they'll be able to chain stun over and over again because you're killing stuff all around them. That'll also be the same with Thunderlord. So Thunderlord 2, when you have the lightning strikes, they're going to be strong against overload champions. So I have 3 ways of dealing with the overload champions as the most annoying champion. And then of course I have anti-barrier sniper with the Critical Anomaly, and that's how I cover all of my bases throughout the fight. Now for the artifact, just want to cover that really quickly since we touched on that a second ago. Again, I'm running anti-barrier sniper. I have scav mods, overcharged armory that's going to affect both my bow and my sniper rifle. I've got Elemental Siphon, so that one there is if I were using a kinetic or a weapon matching my super, I was getting elemental pickups. I was thinking about going with a void weapon so that I could do that, but I just decided to go with the arc bow, so this isn't used, it's just something that I picked to kind of push along my artifact. Press the advantage, counter energy, so when I stun champions, I get energy back from both my dodge and my smoke, so that I can activate Quickfall, so this is nice to have. Void Hegemony, so if I have a Void class, which I do, defeating weakened targets provides me an Overshield, and of course getting an Overshield will then give me melee recharge faster, so that I can continue to make sure that I have that melee always ready. And then Sniper's Meditation, as I've stunned something, if I hit it multiple times, I'm going to get that stacking sniper rifle damage and that reload bonus as well. And this is really helpful whenever trying to use your sniper rifle to take down champions, because that escalating damage will help knock a champion down without having to switch to your heavy, save you some heavy ammo. Over to the mods, as you can see, my mods are going to be mostly arc setup. So I've got arc scav so that I can pick up a heavy and get more ammo for my Thunderlord. I got double arc resist because that's going to be the most annoying type of damage you're taking, and there's arc threat right now in this particular GM, so you want to make sure that you're covering that as much as you can. I got sniper resistance because snipers are the ones that tend to kill you, so anything firing at me from long range is not going to be able to do enough to take me out before I can get invis and get that higher recovery, get my health back. I'm also doing the arc siphon because I have the arc bow. That'll let me get orbs going. I'm running heavy ammo finder with heavy ammo scout. That'll help my teammates out. These here are going to help focus my class ability energy. So when I'm using a quick fall dodge and I do damage, I'll be able to get my class ability energy up if it's already depleted. And then same thing if I'm doing a grenade attack, that'll also get my class ability energy up. And then I just head fastball to fill in for that. It's not necessary. On the boots as well, I'm running Absolution, so picking up those orbs that we create are going to give you class ability energy back. And then Recuperation, if I need to grab an orb of power nearby to help save myself, I have that ability too. Anytime I do my dodge, I'm getting melee energy as well. So it's like, say I have to do my dodge and my melee energy is down and I'm not near an enemy and I just have to use it, like when I save a teammate, for example, in the run, this is going to help get that melee energy quickly so that I can get that done. And if I do a finisher, I have a powerful overshield while I'm finishing, so that means that I'll be able to get my recovery going as well while I'm finishing an enemy. And so all of these things pretty much help me to where I don't have to worry about recovery at all. So my recovery is like a 6 in this build, and that's because I'm already getting high recovery when I'm in biz, and I can just finish something, get my health back, or I can just wait while I'm in biz and get my health back. So that's the benefit of having the kind of ultimate invis build. You don't have to worry about recovery. So I'm stacking as high as I can mobility, resilience, and strength. Those are the things that I prioritize in this build. Other than that, this is pretty much the whole setup. If you had any additional questions on the build itself, you can also drop that in the comments below. Like I said, I got that dim link for you guys, so you can just click it and go. Hopefully you have some of the same equipment. That way you can make this run nice and easy, and you can pretty much carry any kind of LFG through this. You can even do it solo with this. It takes you a little bit longer. The reason why I don't do solo runs is just because I figure I might as well help a few people out, get their GM done while I'm doing mine, and also it usually speeds things up for the most part because I have that additional damage from people doing damage to the boss or other enemies around me while I'm kind of navigating on my own. So thanks very much for watching the end. I appreciate my new subscribers and my subscribers that, of course, have been with me this entire time. We're working our way to 2,000. I'll see you guys in the next guide.